Welcome to the famous circuit Brands Hatch, recent host to the Paralympic cycling in which ex-F1 star Alex Zanardi won gold. We're here for the latest instalments to the Super Pro VAG Trophy and the Mark II Golf GTI Championships. We hope you enjoy the show. The Super Pro VAG Trophy is famed for its friendly rivalry, especially between the families. I caught up with cousins Liam and Joe McMillan to see how they're getting on in their Seat Leons.
Both competitive, always been a competitive car. Liam's obviously had a lot of experience in the Seats before. He sort of edged us to go this way. And yeah, the car's been competitive all year, so we're really happy with it at the moment, yeah.
Absolutely. Now tell me a little bit more about your racing history. I believe you've got some experience with the touring cars.
Yeah, I've done a little bit in touring cars, just 3 or 4 rounds, and I raced in Spain in Seats, a bit like what we're racing today. So yeah, good experience in these sort of cars.
So tell me a little bit about the rivalry between the two of you. Which one wants to start?
Yeah, no, it's nice to be fair. Liam's taught me quite a lot. Obviously, he's had a lot more experience than myself. Yeah, it's obviously going to be competitive between us, but it's nothing more than a little bit of cousinly love.
I see that there's a little friendly shunt mark on your car. Whose is that?
Yeah, that was me. It wasn't intentional, but it's the back of a race car, so when you're racing around the track, it is hard not to nudge into each other.
24 cars on the grid for this weekend's Super Pro VAG Trophy. Paul Taylor's up here in pole position with Liam McMillan and Martin Cully close behind. With just 8 points separating the top 5, this is set to be a dramatic race. Ben, over to you.
Thank you very much, and a very warm welcome then to Brands Hatch, the drivers getting the chance to sample the legendary Grand Prix look with Paul Taylor and Liam McMillan sharing the front row of the grid, Martin Cully and Joe McMillan on row 2. Lovely to see such a packed field of cars. I'm sure that it will be Paul Taylor in the Golf who will make the good getaway he normally does. Revs rising, away he goes, and that's four-wheel drive for you, as it's Taylor who rockets into the early advantage from Martin Cully, but around the outside of Cully goes one of the McMillan Seats. We'll see which one it is in a moment. If it's 88, it's Liam. 8, it's Joe. It's 88, Liam McMillan, then former British Touring Car Championship racer, who's already right up onto the tail of Paul Taylor as they climb up to Jerusalem for the first time. Rob Allen, one of the foremost Class B runners, successfully negotiates Jerusalem. He actually takes the lead of the class as they head down to Graham Hill Bend for the first time. Taylor a little bit offline. That's the opening for Liam McMillan, surely, as they sprint along the Cooper Straight. Meanwhile, Rob Allen, David Jenks and Martin Walsh engaged in battle into Surtees, and through into the lead goes Liam McMillan, and that all came from that slight wobble from Taylor a little bit earlier on, but Taylor was superb through Surtees there, so they head out onto the Grand Prix loop and down Pilgrim's Drop for the first time. Paul Taylor runs to the wheel tracks of Liam McMillan, but he can't quite squeeze his way past him as they head through Hawthorns, accelerate on towards Westfield for the first time, and Martin Cully staying with them. Then we've got that slight gap back to Joe McMillan, and he is in a 3-car group that's trailed by Len Simpson, the bright red Volkswagen Vento, as they climb out of Dingledale into Sheen. Here comes the fight for Class B Honours. It's still just led by Rob Allen, who's made a good start. He's up ahead of Ken Lark's Corrado, amongst others, as the massed ranks of Class B work through Sheen. Wonderful to see such a full field of cars. John Hill and the team do a super job in coordinating this championship. They really are reaping the rewards this weekend. Down through Paddock Hill Bend then, and it's still leading the way. Liam McMillan, Paul Taylor in second, third place Martin Cully, and Cully in that white Vento. We need to close up onto the red Golf of Paul Taylor. Around Druids they go, a pair of them nose to tail. Then we've got Joe Taylor, who is next up, Joe McMillan rather, next up, trying to chase down brother Liam, although Liam seems at this stage of the race to rather make good his escape. And as they head into Surtees once more, it's probably 3 car lengths between McMillan and then Paul Taylor. Martin Cully on 3 wheels through Surtees, pushing very hard in the Vento, as still the Class B battles continue. There's Alex Bomber Harris. He has got the Beetle of Barry Cully up onto his tail into Graham Bend, snatching a break. There is Bomber, and then Barry Cully trying to work through that. He's got Steve Gales, he's good right behind him, he's got a spin and off, and that's Simon Tomlinson, unfortunately, car 40, who I think has just backed into the barrier. Also into the pit lane is Chris Adams, and Adams was running so strongly up in 5th, so great pity that he is out of the race, as looking to gain ground there, the white Golf of Keith Davis. He looks to the inside of Tony Taylor. Taylor, one of the Class B front runners. Now you're going to see the move there from Davis. He's got the inside line into Westfield, and yes, that's a really nice move from Keith Davis. Rob Allam also squabbling with Taylor. This then the fight for Class B lead, and Rob Allam having slipped back behind Tony Taylor, making a very brave move into Sheen, so he gains position. And Martin Walsh in the blue car as well, part of that scrap. They're all being chased down by Steve Rowland. Nose to tail action then throughout the field. Wherever you look, there's somebody busy dicing out over the curbs. One of the cars, as the leads have all closed up on each other a little bit. And we've got a challenge here for second, and looking to the inside up to Druids, Martin Cully. Taylor squeezes across his bows, and that now means that Taylor and Cully, they're in the Macmillan sandwich. It's still Liam who leads it, but Joe in 4th is right onto the tail of Cully as they work around Graham Hill Bend. Sprint along the Coupe straight. An opening here for Joe McMillan. He's got the inside line on Cully as they arrive into Surtees, and Joe McMillan slips in to 3rd position. It's a nice and sound move, and that really was all set up by Martin Cully, maybe just trying too hard to take 2nd away from Paul Taylor. And now he slips to 4th. Taylor still, though, pressurising Liam McMillan to lead the race. What can this man, Joe McMillan, do about that leading duo? And I don't think Martin Cully is out of this squabble just yet. Working up the hill, there's Nick Penfold. 6th car, bit of a challenge on the tail of Alex Bomber Harris. No way through there. So there is Penfold on his tail. We have got Chris Skip as well, another of the black cars. Here is the fight though for Class B lead, and it's still Rob Allam who leads from Tony Taylor. That red car you caught a glimpse of, that's the invitation class runner David Jenkins. Jenkins better known for his exploits racing trucks very quickly and very sideways, and he is shown very strongly this weekend as coming through Clark Curve once more is this leading quartet. And Paul Taylor's got a good run here on Liam McMillan. In fact, he may well fancy his chances to challenge up to Druids, but Joe McMillan is also hot on the heels of Taylor. So as they work through Paddock Hill Bend and then climb up Halewood Hill, just running a little bit wide there, Paul Taylor, and Joe McMillan fancies his chances. He launches to the inside, he's through, he loses it, and he taps into Taylor, and then as he corrects, that's more contact. They rejoin, and I hope that Paul Taylor is able to recover. It's brilliant news for Martin Cully. He jumps up into a very secure 2nd. Joe McMillan is exactly where he started manoeuvre in 3rd. And let's have another look at this. So through Paddock Hill Bend they go. McMillan just feels he's got the advantage. He draws ahead, then loses the rear of the car, snaps completely sideways, taps into Taylor, corrects it, lifts Taylor onto 2 wheels. And Paul may have a slightly dim view of that because it was an impossibly late manoeuvre on the brakes from Joe McMillan. And almost going sideways was the only result. Taylor gave him plenty of racing room. Rob Allam latches onto the tail of David Jenkins as they arrive into Hawthorns. It's not a battle for class lead, but rather they are fighting for 9th position overall on the road. It's Martin Walsh coming under a lot of pressure there from Steve Rowlands. Into the traffic then is Liam McMillan. He's comfortably in command of this. Then we've got Alex Harris who turns down through Paddock Hill Bend, and Harris goes around and has a wheel sheared off there. Yes, it has. Some debris being left in the road, and Alex Harris having a very uncharacteristic spin. Fortunately for the race leader Liam McMillan, he's just got the last couple of miles to go before he hits the checkered flag. What's been an emphatic performance, whereas Bomber unfortunately has got a long trudge across Paddock Hill Bend gravel track. That is the cause of his drama, and that's very unusual. The wheel seems to have sheared off at the rim. It's Paul Taylor in 3rd position, has got Len Simpson right up on his tail, so they're fighting for the final podium place as working around Hawthorns for the last time is Liam McMillan. McMillan is showing just what a quick driver he is. Everybody else is playing dodge the tyre. Rob Allam still leads Tony Taylor in the Class B tussle with Martin Walsh completing that class podium. Round the hairpin at Druids they go, although out of Stirling's and down towards Clearways for the final time. Liam McMillan is going to be a dominant victory in the end. He was rather aided by that move from his brother Joe. That separated that leading group, and thereafter Liam has just put his foot down and powers on. He takes the checkered flag, and victory in the Super Pro VAG trophy here at Brands Hatch. 2nd on the road goes to Martin Cully, and then what about 3rd? Paul Taylor defending from Len Simpson as they sprint up to the line. Over they go, and it's Taylor who just edges out Simpson. And then Class B, and Rob Allam in the little Seat all over the place. Tony Taylor on his tail, and off goes Barry Colley in the Beetle. So problems for Colley. As Rob Allam, he's going to try and poach the place from David Jenkins. Through the final corner, Jenks sideways. Should hold on. It's going to be the black and green Seat of Rob Allam that claims class victory in Class B from Tony Taylor and Martin Walsh. Dramatic race there for the Super Pro VAG trophy. And the drivers celebrating on the podium here at Brands Hatch. Fortunately for Liam and Joe McMillan, those smiles were to turn out to be rather short-lived, because the stewards after the race found technical infringement with Liam McMillan's car, which saw him excluded for the results, and Joe McMillan was excluded as a result of that incident with Paul Taylor. That gives us an amended classification with victory for Martin Cully, second to Paul Taylor, and Len Simpson in third. In Class B, though, it's still Rob Allam from Tony Taylor and Martin Walsh. The night then to the championship standings. It's Tony Taylor who just leads Class B by 1 point from Martin Walsh. In Class A, it's Paul Taylor who stretches out his advantage over the absent Daniel Rose. Championship overall, still just 1 point in it between Taylor and Walsh, with Paul Taylor snapping at their heels.
Well, that's it for part one and for the penultimate weekend of the Super Pro VAG Trophy. With so few points separating the top five, means Snetterton really is going to be an exciting weekend. Join us again for part two, where we'll see more from the Mark II Golf GTI Championships. See you after the break.